Imagine walking into your local bank branch, right? And you just slam this heavy leather duffel bag right onto the counter.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, so you unzip it, and inside is $1 million. And we are talking crisp, real, serial numbered $100 bills.
Just a totally normal Tuesday.
Exactly. You look at the teller and you just say, I'd like to deposit this into my checking account, please.
And let me guess, they do not roll out the red carpet for you.
No, they don't. They don't offer you a premium coffee. They just quietly smile. They process the transaction. And the absolute second you walk out those sliding doors, they effectively call the federal government.
Which they are legally required to do.
Right. Because today we are diving into the invisible tripwires of the global financial system.
And it's a massive, highly sensitive web. I mean, if you don't know exactly where those tripwires are, you're going to trip the alarms.
So before we jump into those invisible tripwires, I do want to quickly mention that this deep dive is brought to you by Cert Fuel.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
They really are. If you are prepping for your exam right now, they have a full securities industry essentials course. We are talking adaptive study quizzes, smart flashcards, and unlimited practice exams that are weighted exactly like the real thing.
Which is huge for getting the pacing right.
Totally. It is a fantastic resource, so go check it out at certfuel.com. All right, let's establish our mission for today.
The mission is simple.
Yes, you are here with us because you need to absolutely crush the anti-money laundering section of the SIE exam.
Or AML, as literally everyone in the industry calls it.
Right, AML. And we need to acknowledge the stakes of the specific material right out of the gate.
Yeah, because the SIE exam is notoriously broad, you know. But this topic, AML, is part of the 23 questions that make up a massive 31% of your exam.
31%?
Yeah. This is not a section you can afford to skim.
You can't skim it, and honestly, you shouldn't want to because it is legitimately fascinating stuff. But we also know how a lot of you learn.
Right, if you have ADHD like you do.
Exactly. If you have ADHD, or if standard, dry textbook lectures just make your eyes glaze over and send you into a daydream about what you are having for dinner.
We completely get it.
We get it. So we promise you this deep dive is not going to be a mechanical reading of a textbook.
No way.
To keep your brain locked in, we are going to use some truly ridiculous hypotheticals.
The weirder, the better.
Exactly. We're going to use recurring characters, and we are going to be throwing constant pop quiz style questions directly at you, the listener.
Because the philosophy here is actually really simple. If you understand the why behind these rules, like the underlying logic, the history, the mechanics of how the crimes are actually committed,
right,
then memorizing the what becomes completely effortless.
You won't have to just memorize a random disconnected list of rules if you actually understand the game that's being played.
Which brings us to the players of the game.
Yes. Let's introduce the cast of characters who will be starring in our examples today. Whenever we need a hypothetical, we are going to lean on these three people.
Starting with the bad guy.
Right. First, we have Shady Sam. But let's ground Sam in reality for a second. He isn't some cartoon bank robber with a striped shirt and a little mask.
No, those guys get caught immediately.
Exactly. Sam is a high-level corporate executive who has been quietly embezzling funds from his company's overseas supply chain.
So he's got resources.
Oh, he has a massive pile of dirty money. And he is always trying to find a loophole to move it through the legitimate financial system.
So Sam is the antagonist of our story. I mean, he is the entire reason this regulatory apparatus exists in the first place.
And then on the other side, we have Diligent Diane.
Our hero.
Yes, she is our broker-dealer's sharp-as-a-tack AML compliance officer.
She knows the rule book cold.
She monitors the trading algorithms, she checks the logs, and she does not miss a trick.
Diane is the shield. She is the literal physical embodiment of the firm's defense mechanisms.
And finally, we have our third guy. We have Oblivious Ollie.
Oh, poor Ollie.
Ollie is just a regular, everyday guy. He runs a local landscaping business. He wants to open a normal brokerage account to save for retirement. But sometimes he accidentally triggers federal alarms just by living his life and trying to avoid paperwork.
Which happens way more often than you'd think.
It really does. So we have Shady Sam, Diligent Diane, and Oblivious Ollie. Let's get into the big picture.
Let's do it.
What exactly is money laundering, fundamentally?
At its core, money laundering is the process of making illegally obtained money appear legitimate.
Making dirty money look clean.
Exactly. It's the act of disguising the origin, the ownership, or the destination of funds that came from criminal activity.
So we're talking embezzlement, like our friend Shady Sam.
Embezzlement, fraud, drug trafficking, terrorism financing, tax evasion. Criminals often make incredible profits, right? But they have this massive structural problem.
Which is what?
They cannot actually use that profit without attracting immediate attention from law enforcement.
Okay, let's unpack that structural problem, because this leads us right into the very first place the exam will try to trap you.
Oh, the exam writers love this one.
They really do. They want to test whether you actually understand the definition of this crime, or if you just, memorized a flashcard.
Right. So if the exam writers want to be cruel, and they usually do, here is exactly how they will try to trick you. They will present a scenario involving counterfeit bills.
Like literally printing fake money in a basement.
Exactly. And you have to remember that money laundering is about disguising dirty money, not creating fake money.
It is not counterfeiting.
Not at all. In a money laundering operation, the cash is absolutely real. The Federal Reserve notes are genuine. The problem isn't the paper itself. The problem is the source of the paper.
Okay, that makes total sense, because if Shady Sam embezzles $2 million, the money itself is real currency.
Right.
But if he takes that $2 million, walks into a luxury real estate office in Manhattan and says, I'd like to buy that penthouse in cash, please, what happens?
Well, the very first question the IRS, the FBI, and the local police will ask is, wait a second, you declare $85,000 a year in salary on your tax returns.
Right.
Where on earth did you get $2 million in liquid cash?
So the money is completely useless to him if he can't spend it without going straight to prison.
Exactly. So he has to run it through a maze.
A financial labyrinth.
Yes, he has to run it through businesses, bank accounts, and investments, so that when it finally comes out the other side, it just looks like ordinary taxable capital gains.
Or regular business income. He basically needs an airtight cover story.
He needs an alibi for the cash.
But that raises a major question for me. Like, if I'm Shady Sam, why don't I just wash my money through a cash-heavy business, like a laundromat or a restaurant or a car wash?
Breaking Bad style.
Exactly. Why are broker-dealers dragged into this regulatory nightmare?
That is a phenomenal question. Washing money through a cash business like a restaurant is the old school way. But if Sam has millions of dollars, a restaurant is way too slow.
You can only ring up so many fake plates of spaghetti.
Exactly. The securities industry is arguably the ultimate prime target for modern launderers, and there are 3 structural reasons why.
Okay, let's hit them. What's reason number 1?
First, sheer transaction volume. Broker-dealers process billions of dollars every single day.
Oh, right.
It is incredibly easy to hide illicit funds when the baseline activity of the firm is already astronomical.
Yeah.
You're trying to hide a drop of dirty water, and the broker-dealer is an ocean.
Volume makes total sense. The bigger the crowd, the easier it is to hide. What is the second reason?
The complexity of the financial instruments. A local bank offers like checking accounts and savings accounts. That is very short, simple paper trail.
Right, it's just money in, money out.
But a broker-dealer offers complex derivatives, options trading, margin accounts, and the ability to trade through offshore shell companies.
Which is confusing even for legitimate investors.
Exactly. These tools act almost like encryption for the money trail. They scramble the origin of the funds in ways a simple bank account never could.
Volume, complexity. And what is the third reason?
Speed. The speed of electronic transfers. Securities markets move at the speed of light.
Milliseconds.
Yeah. Money can cross international borders, bounce between 3 different sovereign jurisdictions, and execute a trade in a fraction of a second.
Wow.
If you are a criminal trying to outrun an investigator subpoena, speed is your best friend.
So volume, complexity, and speed. That is exactly why the federal government forces broker-dealers to act as the frontline defense.
They have to, or the system would collapse.
Which brings us to the legal foundation that actually forces them to do so. Let's look at the laws.
The big ones.
Right. There are 2 major federal acts that criminalize this behavior and mandate the reporting. First, we have the Bank Secrecy Act, which was passed way back in 1970.
The BSA. This is the foundational text of all financial crime regulation in the United States.
It's the granddaddy of them all.
It really is. It's often just referred to as the Anti-Money Laundering Act because it created the basic reporting and record-keeping framework that everything else is built upon.
So what prompted it in 1970?
Well, the government realized that if they wanted to catch mobsters and cartels, they couldn't just wiretap phones anymore.
Right.
They had to wiretap the money. So they forced financial institutions to start keeping extensive records.
And then we fast forward a few decades to 2001, right in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, Congress passes the USA Patriot Act.
Right. The world changed, and the nature of the threat changed entirely.
How so?
Well, the Bank Secrecy Act was primarily designed to catch people hiding money they already made from past crimes.
Like drug deals that already happened.
Exactly. But the Patriot Act was designed to combat terrorism financing, which is often the exact reverse.
Taking legitimate money and moving it to fund a future crime.
Yes. To stop that, the Patriot Act significantly strengthened the old Bank Secrecy Act by adding intense customer identification rules and forcing financial institutions to share information with each other.
Okay, here is where a lot of test takers get tripped up. I'm going to throw this out there for you to clear up. Did the Patriot Act replace the Bank Secrecy Act? Because, 1970 feels like ancient history in the financial world.
No, it absolutely did not, and that is a massive exam trap.
Huge trap.
The USA Patriot Act did not replace the BSA. They are both currently in effect.
So how should we think about them working together?
Think of the Bank Secrecy Act as the concrete foundation of a house, right?
Yeah.
And the Patriot Act is a massive, high-tech security system built on top of that foundation.
I love that.
Furthermore, and you must remember this, do not let the name Bank Secrecy Act fool you.
Yeah, bank is literally the first word in the title.
It is, but it applies to all financial institutions. Broker-dealers, casinos, credit unions, insurance companies.
So not just banks.
Not just banks. They're all bound by the Bank Secrecy Act.
Let's follow the life cycle of a dollar bill now. We know the laws that make this illegal. Now we need to dissect the actual playbook that Shady Sam uses to clean his embezzled money.
Right, because if we don't know his tactics, we can't understand why the specific rules exist to stop him.
Exactly. This is the core cycle of money laundering, and it happens in 3 distinct stages.
You absolutely need to know these 3 stages, and this is key. You need to know them in their exact chronological order.
A lot of people use the analogy of doing actual laundry, like putting dirty clothes in the wash, running the spin cycle, and taking them out clean.
Which is fine, it works.
It works, but I want to use a slightly more mechanical analogy. Let's think of it as a financial shell game. Let's start with stage 1, placement. What is happening the absolute moment Shady Sam tries to place his money?
Placement is exactly what it sounds like. It is the initial introduction of illegally obtained cash into the legitimate financial system.
It's the very first step.
Yes. Sam has that duffel bag of embezzled cash, or maybe he has a secret offshore account of stolen funds, and he needs to get it into a mainstream domestic bank or brokerage account.
And mechanically, this is the most vulnerable stage for Sam, right? Because he's holding the hot potato.
He is. He is dealing with the physical manifestation of his crime, and large amounts of cash are inherently suspicious.
He can't just deposit $100,000 at once without triggering a massive alarm. So what does he do?
He gets creative.
Let's say he takes that $100,000 and he breaks it up. He deposits $9,000 at a branch in New York.
Okay.
Then he drives over to New Jersey and deposits $8,500. Then he has a buddy deposit $9,200 in Connecticut.
He is deliberately keeping every single deposit under the $10,000 federal reporting threshold.
Right.
He knows exactly where the tripwire is, so he is trying to step gracefully over it.
Okay, listener, I have a direct question for you right now. I'm going to pause for a second so you can lock in your answer. If Shady Sam breaks his cash deposits up into smaller amounts, specifically to avoid triggering that $10,000 reporting threshold, what is that specific act called?
Think about it.
It's called structuring.
Yeah.
Some people call it smurfing, but on the exam, you will absolutely see it as structuring.
Structuring. And we really have to highlight a massive point of confusion here. You need to know 2 crucial things about structuring.
Lamb on us.
First, structuring is a placement technique. It happens at stage 1, when the cash is first entering the system.
It is not the spin cycle.
Exactly. It's just getting the clothes into the machine.
Yeah.
Second, and this is the concept that actually blows people's minds, structuring is illegal, even if the underlying money is perfectly legitimate.
Okay, let's hold on a second and really explore that because it sounds totally counterintuitive.
It does.
Are you saying that if Oblivious Ollie, our regular landscaping guy, has $40,000 in cash that he saved 100% legally from mowing lawns, and he decides to deposit it in $9,000 chunks just because he hates filling out government forms at the bank, he is committing a federal crime?
Yes, he is committing a felony.
But why? If the money is completely clean, who cares how he deposits it?
Because the entire anti-money laundering apparatus relies on data. FinCEN, the intelligence agency that monitors this stuff, relies on those $10,000 reports to spot actual cartels and terrorists.
Oh, I see.
So if regular citizens are allowed to dodge the reporting threshold just because it's quote-unquote inconvenient, the data becomes completely useless.
It breaks the radar.
Exactly. The act of dodging the reporting requirement is in itself a crime because it blinds the government and wastes investigative resources.
It doesn't matter where the money came from.
Not at all. If you deliberately break up deposits to avoid the threshold, you are structuring and you are breaking the law.
That is a phenomenal explanation. So it's not about the money, it's about breaking the radar.
Okay, so Sam successfully gets his dirty money into the system through placement. He avoided the tripwires. Now we move to stage 2, layering.
The spin cycle.
Right. Or, returning to our shell game analogy, this is where the dealer starts moving the cups around the table so fast your eyes can't track the ball. Layering involves complex, often rapid transactions designed entirely to separate the money from its illegal source.
So what's the goal?
The singular goal here is confusion. Shady Sam wants to create a paper trail so incredibly dense, crossing so many international borders, that an investigator with a subpoena simply runs out of time, money, or legal jurisdiction to follow it.
You mentioned earlier that the securities industry is a prime target because of complex instruments. How does a shell company actually work during this layering phase?
Okay, let's track Sam's money. He's got his embezzled cash placed into a U.S. bank account. Now he transfers it to a shell company, which is just a fake corporation that exists only on paper registered in the Cayman Islands.
Okay, Cayman Islands.
That shell company then opens a brokerage account and starts aggressively trading options. The Cayman shell company might buy out-of-the-money call options from another shell company that Sam secretly owns in Cyprus.
Wait, so he is trading with himself?
Yes. He essentially executes a trade with himself, taking a deliberate loss on the Cayman side and a massive gain on the Cyprus side.
Oh, wow. So suddenly the money sitting in Cyprus doesn't look like embezzled funds anymore.
Exactly. It looks like legitimate capital gains from a brilliant options trade.
That is wild.
He used the friction of international jurisdictions as encryption. And on the SIE exam, you will frequently see layering described as a customer rapidly buying and selling securities across multiple brokerage accounts, often with no clear investment strategy.
Let me throw out a scenario, listener, because the exam will try to trick you right here. Think about this. If Shady Sam is rapidly buying and selling stocks across 4 different accounts, moving the money back and forth every single day, is he integrating the money?
No, he is not. That is layering.
Why will the exam try to say it's integration?
They will try to convince you that because he is buying an asset, like a stock, he has reached the final stage of integration. But you have to look at the behavior.
The rapid movement.
Right. If he's doing it rapidly with high turnover across multiple accounts, the primary goal is still confusion. He's just moving the cups around the table. He's stirring the water. That is layering.
The ball is still under the cup. Which brings us to stage 3, integration.
The final step.
He's placed the money, he's layered it through Cyprus and the Caymans, and the paper trail is totally severed. What happens in the integration stage?
Integration is reintroducing the now clean money back into the legitimate mainstream economy.
Wearing the clean clothes.
Yes. At this point, the funds appear to come from totally legal sources, like that brilliant options trade we just talked about. So Shady Sam takes that layered money, and he enjoys the fruits of his labor.
He buys a luxury yacht in Miami.
He buys commercial real estate in New York. He invests in a legitimate restaurant franchise.
And because of that, integration is the absolute hardest stage to detect.
Without a doubt.
Right.
By the time the money reaches the integration phase, the forensic trail has been so thoroughly obscured during the layering phase that the transaction just looks like a normal wealthy executive buying a boat.
Yeah, there's no red flags left.
Exactly. If you don't catch them at placement or layering, integration is almost impossible to flag as criminal.
Okay, we are going to do a quick pattern interrupt here.
Listen up.
I don't care if you are driving, if you are doing the dishes, or if you are sitting at your desk pretending to work. I want you to physically repeat the 3 stages of money laundering out loud with me right now. Ready? Placement, layering, integration. One more time. Lock it in. Placement, layering, integration. Dirty money in, spin it around, clean money out.
It is so vital to know that exact sequence. Placement is the most physically vulnerable stage. Layering is the most complex stage,
Okay.
and integration is the hardest stage to detect.
All right, so we know Shady Sam's 3-step playbook.
Yeah.
We know exactly how he wants to attack the broker-dealer. So how does FINRA, the regulatory body, force these firms to defend themselves?
They mandate the creation of a shield.
Enter FINRA Rule 3310 and the AML compliance program.
FINRA Rule 3310 is the ultimate mandate here. It requires every single member firm to establish and implement a written AML compliance program.
Written being the key word.
Yes, it cannot be an informal understanding among the staff. It must be written down. And the exam is very strict about what must be included. There are 4 non-negotiable core pillars of an AML program.
We can't just list these. We need to actually understand what they mean in practice. Let's build the shield. Pillar number 1.
Pillar 1, policies and procedures. These must be reasonably designed to detect and cause the reporting of suspicious activity.
So this is the firm's specific, customized rule book.
Exactly. It details exactly what the algorithm should look for, what the tellers should flag, and how the internal reporting chain works.
It's the blueprint. Moving to pillar number 2.
Pillar 2, the designation of an AML compliance officer, or AMLCO.
An actual person.
Yes, this is a specific human being who's responsible for implementing and monitoring the program on a day-to-day basis.
Enter Diligent Diane. This is her entire job. She is the AMLCO. She isn't just a generic employee. She is the designated captain of the ship. Okay, pillar number 3.
Pillar 3, ongoing employee training. It is completely useless if Diligent Diane is the only person who knows the rules.
Right, if the tellers don't know what to look for, the system fails.
Exactly. All relevant personnel, the brokers, the customer service reps, the wire room staff, must receive ongoing training so they can recognize the red flags of placement and layering when they see them.
And finally, pillar number 4. This one is huge.
Pillar 4, independent testing. This is essentially an annual audit to make sure the firm isn't just rubber stamping their compliance. They have to prove the program actually works.
Let's do a deep dive on some of the nuances of these pillars, because the exam loves to test the fine print. Let's start with Diligent Diane, the AMLCO. Let's talk about corporate hierarchy.
Okay.
Does Diane have to be a member of the firm's senior executive management team? Like, does she have to be a C-suite executive?
This is a fantastic distinction.
Yeah.
No. Diligent Diane, the AMLCO, does not have to be a member of senior management. Yeah, she can be a highly skilled mid-level compliance director.
Mm-hmm.
However, and this is the crucial counterbalance, the AML program itself must be approved in writing by senior management.
So the CEO and the board of directors can't just delegate this to Diane, ignore her, and then wash their hands of it if the firm gets busted.
Exactly. The executives have to put their signatures on the blueprint. They have to own the risk.
Makes sense.
Furthermore, the firm has to identify exactly who the AMLCO is directly to FINRA. They provide Diane's name and contact info. And if Diane ever gets promoted, quits, or retires, the firm has to promptly notify FINRA of that change so the regulators always know who is at the helm.
Okay, let's look at that 4th pillar, the independent testing. What does an audit actually look like? Are government agents swarming the building?
No.
The rule says it has to be on a calendar year basis. But here's a direct question for you, the listener. Think about the word independent. Does the independent testing have to be done by an outside third-party consulting firm? I'll give you a beat to think about it.
Take a guess.
The answer is nope, it does not.
That's right, and that surprises a lot of people. The independent testing can absolutely be done internally by the firm's own audit staff.
Wait, how is that independent?
The only requirement is that the internal auditors must be entirely independent from the AML compliance department itself.
Oh, so they can't report to Diane.
Exactly. They cannot report to Diligent Diane because you can't grade your own homework. Alternatively, it can be done externally by a qualified outside party. Both methods are perfectly acceptable as long as it happens on a calendar year basis.
Okay, let's play a quick game of Spot the Fake Rule.
I love this game.
The exam loves to test these 4 pillars by substituting a totally fake requirement into a multiple choice question to see if you'll take the bait. You might see a question asking, which of the following is not a requirement of an AML program?
And here come the options.
Right. A, written policies and procedures. B, designation of an AML compliance officer. C, monthly FINRA audits. Or D, ongoing employee training.
And the fake rule there is clearly C.
Monthly FINRA audits.
Right. There is no requirement for monthly FINRA audits. FINRA does not come to your office every month.
Thank goodness.
Right. The 4 pillars are policies, the officer, the training, and the independent testing. You must have those 4 locked in.
So Diligent Diane has her entire program set up. She's got her senior management approval. Her training logs are up to date. Her independent audit is scheduled for November.
She's ready to fight financial crime.
She is. But before she can start monitoring what people are doing with their money, she needs to know exactly who is walking through the front door. I mean, you can't track a ghost.
Absolutely not.
Which brings us to the Customer Identification Program, or CIP.
The CIP is a rigidly enforced component of every AML program. It was officially mandated by Section 326 of the USA Patriot Act.
Okay.
If we want a reliable analogy here, the CIP is the TSA ID check at the airport. You cannot get your bags onto the plane, and you cannot get past security without proving exactly who you are.
Let's set up a scenario to see how this works in practice. Oblivious Ollie walks into the broker-dealer on a Tuesday morning. He wants to open a brand new standard brokerage account to trade some tech stocks.
Sounds innocent enough.
Right. What are the absolute minimum legally required pieces of information that Diligent Diane must collect from Ollie before she can open that account?
The CIP requires 4 highly specific items. Number 1, full legal name. Number 2, date of birth, assuming the customer is an individual and not a corporation, obviously.
Right.
Number 3, a physical address. This could be a residential home address or a principal business address, but it cannot be a P.O. box.
No P.O. boxes. Got it.
And number 4, an identification number.
Let's pause on that fourth one. What actually counts as a valid identification number?
For a U.S. citizen like Ollie, it is almost always going to be a social security number or a taxpayer identification number.
And for someone from out of the country?
For a non-U.S. person, it would be a passport number, an alien identification card number, or another government-issued ID number that proves their legal existence.
Why this specific combination, though? Why name, DOB, address, and ID number?
Because that specific combination creates a unique, verifiable digital footprint.
Oh, I see.
Think about it. There might be 1,000 guys named Oliver Smith. There might be 50 born on the exact same day, but there was only one Oliver Smith born on that day, living at that specific address with that specific social security number.
It eliminates aliases and ghost accounts.
Exactly.
And here is where 80% of test takers mess up. The exam loves to trick you on this CIP list.
They do. They get really sneaky here.
They will give you a multiple choice question asking what is required to be collected under the CIP, and they will sneak in things that sound incredibly reasonable. Like they will add mother's maiden name or email address or telephone number or even net worth.
You have to be incredibly disciplined here. Do not let logic betray you. While a broker might want a phone number for their own marketing purposes.
Sure, to call and sell them stuff.
Right. But it is not required by the federal CIP rules. Name, date of birth, address, identification number. Those 4, and only those 4, are the federal mandate.
And Diane doesn't just take Ollie's word for it, right? If he scribbles a social security number on a napkin, she doesn't just say, looks good to me.
No. The firm must have procedures to actually verify the identity.
How do they do that?
They can use documentary methods, which means physically looking at an unexpired, government-issued photo ID like a driver's license or a passport.
Okay.
Or they can use non-documentary methods, which involves running Ollie's provided information through credit bureaus, public databases, or cross-checking it with other financial institutions.
And they can't do this in secret, can they?
Right. They have to provide adequate notice to the customer that their identity is being verified.
Oh, like when you sign up for something online and there's that block of text?
Yeah, exactly. You've probably seen this yourself when opening an account. There is always a disclosure that says, to help the government fight the funding of terrorism and money laundering activities, federal law requires us to obtain, verify, and record information that identifies each person who opens an account.
They literally have to tell you they are checking.
Yes. Furthermore, they have to maintain records of the information they used to verify the identity, and they are legally required to cross-reference Ollie's name against government lists of known or suspected terrorists.
Okay, I have another massive truck alert for you, listener. Pay close attention to this one. Let's say Oblivious Ollie has been a loyal, verified customer of Diligent Diane's firm for 10 years.
A decade.
He has a primary brokerage account. They know him. He goes to the firm's holiday party.
He's practically family.
Right. Today, he logs online and decides he wants to open a new secondary account, specifically for trading options. Does he have to go through the CIP process all over again?
Yes. This is a huge trap. The customer identification program applies to all new accounts.
Yeah, really?
There is absolutely no grandfather clause or exception for existing customers who are opening additional accounts. Even if Diane has known Ollie for a decade, the moment a new account number is generated in the system, the CIP rules are triggered.
The firm must verify his identity again, no exceptions. Let's synthesize the timeline here. We're building a chronological flow of how a broker-dealer defends itself. First, the CIP acts as the bouncer at the front door. It verifies identity and allows the account to be opened.
Right.
Once the customer is inside the club, the AML ongoing monitoring system, the security cameras, turn on and watch the trading activity.
To catch the layering.
Exactly. If the cameras spot Shady Sam doing something that looks like layering, an alarm goes off. But here's the question. When Diane is in the back room watching the monitors, and she sees Sam executing highly suspicious trades through Cyprus, who does she actually report it to? She doesn't just dial 911 and ask for the local police, does she?
No, she does not. I mean, the local police wouldn't even know what an options trade is. She calls the intelligence hub of the Treasury Department. She calls the watchers.
Let's talk about the watchers. FinCEN, FINCEN. Who are they and what is their role?
FinCEN stands for the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. They are a specialized bureau of the U.S. Department of the Treasury.
Okay.
Their entire mission is to safeguard the financial system from illicit use, combat money laundering, and promote national security through the collection and analysis of financial intelligence. They are the agency that officially administers the Bank Secrecy Act.
We need to ring the alarm loud on this one because the exam will actively try to confuse you about what FinCEN actually does in the real world.
Oh, big time. What is fascinating about FinCEN is understanding what they are not.
Okay, what are they not?
FinCEN is not the FBI.
Wrong.
They are not the SEC. They are not the Department of Justice.
No tactical gear?
Exactly. They do not have special agents kicking down doors in tactical gear. They do not conduct criminal investigations, and they do not make arrests.
So they are basically the ultimate mailroom and data analytics hub.
That's the perfect way to put it. Financial institutions from all over the United States, banks, broker-dealers, casinos, drop off millions of reports every year. FinCEN ingests all that data, and they use incredibly powerful algorithms and data analytics to spot patterns.
Like connecting the dots.
Yes. They connect the dots between a suspicious deposit in Miami and a weird wire transfer in Seattle. Once they build an intelligence package that points to a crime, they route that package to the actual law enforcement agencies.
Like the FBI, the DEA?
Right, the agencies who do have the authority to kick down the doors.
So FinCEN sits in the middle of the spider web collecting data. And going back to the USA Patriot Act from 2001, that law actually gave FinCEN some incredibly powerful tools to facilitate the sharing of that data, specifically in Section 314.
Yes.
We need to dissect Section 314A and Section 314B.
These two sections are essentially the communication protocols for the entire AML network. Let's start with Section 314A.
The A stands for what?
Well, 314A dictates mandatory information sharing between the government and financial institutions.
Okay.
It allows law enforcement to go to FinCEN and say, we are currently investigating a massive embezzlement ring, and we are looking for a guy named Shady Sam. We need to know where his money is.
And then what does FinCEN do?
FinCEN then blasts a secure electronic request out to thousands of financial institutions simultaneously.
And what is Diane's obligation when that 314A request pops up on her computer screen?
The clock starts ticking immediately. Her firm has exactly 14 days to search their records, accounts, transactions, wire transfers, and report back to FinCEN if they have any matches for Shady Sam.
14 days. And can Diane call Sam and say, hey, man, just a heads up, the federal government sent out a blast asking about your accounts?
Absolutely. Categorically not. Confidentiality is strictly legally required. The firm cannot tell the customer that they're the subject of a 314A request. Again, 314A is mandatory. The government asks, and the broker-dealer must answer.
Now, contrast that top-down approach with Section 314B.
Section 314B is entirely voluntary. Instead of the government talking to the banks, this allows the financial institutions to talk to each other.
This is huge. So Diligent Diane's firm can literally call up a completely different competitor, like a massive Wall Street bank, and compare notes on Shady Sam.
Yes, if Diane spots Sam doing something weird, but she only has half the puzzle, she can collaborate with another institution to spot him moving money between their banks.
Wow.
But there is a process. They can't just gossip. They have to formally opt in by filing a notice with FinCEN first. verifying that they have the proper security protocols in place to share data.
But wait, why would a bank take the risk of sharing their client's private financial data with a competitor? Wouldn't they get sued by the customer for violating privacy laws?
That is the genius of 314B. It provides a statutory safe harbor from privacy liability.
A safe harbor.
Right. As long as the institutions are sharing the information in good faith, specifically for the purpose of identifying potential money laundering or terrorist financing, they are legally protected. They cannot be sued by Shady Sam for breach of privacy. The government created a legal shield so the banks could team up.
Okay, listener, I have a mnemonic device to help you remember the difference between these two sections because the exam will absolutely test you on the difference between mandatory and voluntary sharing.
This is a great trick.
For 314A, A stands for authorities ask. The authorities ask, and it is mandatory. For 314B, B stands for businesses blab to each other, businesses blab, and it is voluntary. Authorities ask, businesses blab.
That is a perfect, reliable way to keep them straight under the pressure of the exam.
All right, so we know FinCEN is the ultimate intelligence hub collecting the data. Now it is time to look at the actual pieces of paper, the reports that Diligent Diane files to feed that hub.
The fun stuff.
We are looking at the two biggest, loudest alarms in the financial system, SARs versus CTRs. This is the ultimate showdown.
It really is.
Okay, listeners, stop what you are doing. If you have zoned out, if you are checking your email, if your mind has wandered, snap back to me right now. Take a deep breath.
Seriously, pay attention.
This is a massive, high-frequency, heavily weighted exam topic. You are 100% going to see questions on this. You need to understand the mechanics of these two reports side by side, inside and out.
You really do. This is the operational core of AML compliance. Let's start with the CTR, the Currency Transaction Report.
What exactly triggers a CTR? What makes the alarm go off?
A CPR is triggered by a physical cash transaction that exceeds $10,000 by a single customer in a single business day.
Physical cash.
Yes, and we mean physical currency paper money and coins. We are not talking about a $15,000 personal check or a $20,000 wire transfer. We are talking about cold, hard cash.
We need an analogy to understand how this report operates. How should we think about the CTR?
Think of the CTR exactly like a highway speed camera.
Speed camera.
Okay. A speed camera is entirely flawlessly automatic. It is a machine. It does not possess human judgment, it does not understand context, and it does not care about your excuses.
Right.
It doesn't matter if Oblivious Ollie is driving 90 miles an hour because his wife is in labor and he's rushing to the hospital. And it doesn't matter if Shady Sam is driving 90 miles an hour because he's fleeing a bank robbery. If the vehicle goes over the speed limit, the camera flashes. Period.
So there is absolutely no suspicion required for a CTR.
None whatsoever. It is a purely objective threshold. If Oblivious Ollie deposits $10,001 in cash because he's trying to pay for his grandmother's surgery and the money is completely clean, Diligent Diane still has to file a CPR. Over the limit equals an automatic flash.
Let's talk about the history of that number for a second.
Yeah.
Why $10,000?
Because the rule was written in 1970 with the Bank Secrecy Act. In 1970, $10,000 was a staggering amount of cash.
You could literally buy a house.
Exactly. If you were moving $10,000 in physical cash in 1970, you were almost certainly a criminal or a high roller. But today, adjusted for inflation, $10,000 barely buys a used Honda Civic.
Yeah, that's wild. So the limit never went up.
The threshold has never been raised. So today, the CTR net catches millions of completely innocent transactions from regular small businesses, which creates a massive data sorting problem for FinCEN. But the rule remains strictly enforced.
What are the specific regulatory details we need to memorize for the CTR?
3 hard facts. Number 1, the CTR must be filed electronically with FinCEN within 15 calendar days of the transaction.
15 days.
Number 2, the customer can know about it. Because it is an automatic objective report, there is no rule against the teller saying to Ollie, hey, Ollie, since you're depositing over 10 grand today, I just have to fill out this routine federal form.
No tipping off rule here.
Exactly. And number 3, the firm must retain the records of that CTR filing for a minimum of 5 years.
Got it. $10,000 limit. Physical cash. 15 days to file. Customer can know. Keep records for 5 years. That is the CTR speed camera. Now let's look at its much more complex counterpart, the SAR. The Suspicious Activity Report.
A big one.
What triggers a SAR?
A SAR is triggered when a transaction or a series of transactions is $5,000 or more, and the firm knows, suspects, or has reason to suspect that the activity is shady.
Shady how?
It could involve funds derived from an illegal source. It could be designed to evade reporting requirements like structuring, or it could simply be a bizarre transaction that has no apparent lawful or legitimate business purpose.
So if the CTR is an automatic thoughtless speed camera, what is the analogy for the SAR?
The SAR is the see something, say something hotline. It relies entirely on human judgment and analytical algorithms.
It's subjective.
Yes. It requires Diligent Diane to look at a transaction, look at the context of the customer's profile and say, that just doesn't look right. She doesn't need hard prosecutable proof of a crime. She isn't a detective. She just needs reasonable suspicion.
Let's look at the filing details for a SAR.
A SAR must be filed with FinCEN within 30 days of the firm initially detecting the suspicious activity.
30 days?
Right. If they spot the activity but they literally cannot identify a suspect like an unknown hacker probing the system, that deadline extends to 60 days to give them more time to investigate. But generally the rule is 30 days.
Okay, I have a direct question for you, the listener. Let's set up a scenario that forces you to choose between the two reports.
This is a classic exam question.
Let's say Shady Sam walks into the brokerage branch on Monday and deposits $9,500 in physical cash. Then he comes back on Tuesday and deposits another $9,500 in physical cash.
Okay.
He successfully stayed under the $10,000 limit on both days. What report does Diligent Diane file? I'll give you a beat to think about it.
Think about what we talked about earlier.
Right.
Diane files a SAR, a suspicious activity report.
Walk us through the exact mechanics of why. I mean, he never hit $10,000.
Exactly. Because he never hit $10,000 on a single business day, he does not trigger the automatic CTR speed camera. The speed camera did not flash.
Okay.
However, depositing $9,500 on consecutive days is textbook obvious structuring. He is deliberately trying to evade the CTR threshold.
Oh, and structuring is illegal.
Right. And because we know that structuring is a federal crime and the total amount involved, which is $19,000, is well over the $5,000 SAR threshold, Diane's suspicion alarm goes off. She exercises human judgment, recognizes the crime of evasion, and files a SAR for structuring.
That is exactly how they will test your understanding of the interaction between these two reports on the exam. Now let's talk about the most heavily tested severe rule regarding SARs. It is known as the chipping off prohibition.
This is a rule with massive real-world consequences.
Tell me about it.
Let's say Diane files that SAR on Shady Sam for structuring. She sends it to FinCEN. A week later, Sam walks into the branch, walks up to Diane's desk, leans in and asks, "Hey Diane, I noticed you were looking at my accounts yesterday. Did you file a report on me to the government?"
What does Diane do? Can she just say yes?
Diane must absolutely, unequivocally not tell him. Tipping off a customer that a suspicious activity report has been filed, or even that an investigation is underway, is in itself a federal crime, punishable by fines and prison time.
Wow, so no one can tell him.
No one at the firm, not the teller, not the broker handling his trades, not the CEO of the company, can ever disclose the existence of a SAR to the suspect. The report goes into a black box.
Let's reiterate the numbers so they're permanently burned into your brain before exam day. CTR equals $10,000 filed in 15 days. SAR equals $5,000 filed in 30 days.
Memorize that.
And here is one more trap the exam might throw at you. If Diane files a SAR on Shady Sam because she is convinced he is a criminal, does the broker-dealer have to immediately close his account and kick him out?
No, they do not. Filing a SAR does not legally require the firm to close the account.
Really? Why would they want to keep a criminal around?
In fact, there are many instances where federal law enforcement will explicitly ask the firm to keep the account open and operating normally.
Oh, to watch them.
Exactly. So the FBI can continue to monitor the criminal's activity and gather evidence. The relationship can continue while the investigation happens in the shadows.
Okay, we have covered the entire FinCEN reporting structure. We've got the CTR speed cameras catching bulk cash, and the SAR, see something, say something, alarms catching complex layering and structuring.
Yep.
FinCEN handles all these reports for financial crimes. But there's one more boss level we have to talk about. Because what if Shady Sam isn't just an executive embezzling corporate funds? What if he is an international terrorist?
Or a cartel leader.
Exactly. What if he is a known kingpin for a narcotics cartel? That escalates things beyond FinCEN and brings us to the ultimate blockers, OFAC and the SDN list.
OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control. Like FinCEN, OFAC is also a division of the U.S. Department of the Treasury.
Okay.
But their mission and their focus are entirely different. FinCEN deals with the Bank Secrecy Act, money laundering, and financial crime intelligence gathering. OFAC deals with economic and trade sanctions based on U.S. foreign policy and national security goals.
Sanctions. So we were talking about geopolitical targets, hostile foreign countries, rogue regimes, international terrorists, global drug cartels.
Exactly. OFAC's authority doesn't just come from the Bank Secrecy Act. It comes from presidential executive orders and national emergency powers. And their primary, most devastating tool in the financial sector is something called the SDN list.
The SDN list.
The Specially Designated Nationals and Blocked Persons list.
How should we visualize the power of this list?
The best way to think of the SDN list is as the ultimate no-fly list for finance. Before a commercial airline lets you walk onto a plane, they check your name against the TSA no-fly list. If you're on it, you don't fly. Before a U.S. broker-dealer processes a transaction, opens an account, or wires money, they must check the customer's name against the OFAC SDN list. If Shady Sam's name is on that list, his financial transactions are immediately grounded.
So what are the exact step-by-step obligations for a broker-dealer when they encounter this?
There are 3 definitive steps: screen, block, and report.
Screen, block, report.
First, the firm must continuously screen all accounts, all incoming wires, and all outbound transactions against the SDN list. It's an ongoing process. Second, if there's a positive match, the firm must BLOCK the assets immediately.
Define block for me.
Blocking means freezing the assets in place. The money cannot be moved, it cannot be withdrawn, it cannot be used to execute trades, and it cannot be returned to the sender. It is trapped in amber.
And the third step.
Third, once the assets are blocked, the firm must report the blocked transaction to OFAC within 10 business days.
Okay, here comes an exam trap, and I want you, the listener, to answer this directly. Think about the priorities of a business versus the priorities of national security.
This is a good one.
If Diligent Diane is processing a massive, highly profitable wire transfer for a client, and she spots the recipient's name on the SDN list, can she process the trade just to keep the customer happy and secure the commission, and then simply file a report about it with OFAC later that week?
Take a second.
All right, what's the answer?
Absolutely, categorically not. You must block first, immediately. You cannot, under any circumstances, process a transaction for someone on the SDN list. You freeze the assets right then and there, disrupting the transaction, and then you report it to OFAC within 10 business days.
Let's do a side-by-side comparison of OFAC versus FinCEN, because you absolutely have to understand how these two Treasury divisions interact with the broker-dealer.
They are separate divisions with separate goals, but a financial institution must strictly comply with both. Let's contrast them. OFAC is entirely about enforcing sanctions. Their mandated action is to BLOCK and freeze assets.
And their deadline.
The reporting deadline is 10 business days. And crucially, they operate on a standard of strict liability.
Strict liability, meaning there is no oops defense.
Exactly. Even if it was an honest clerical mistake or a software glitch, if your firm processes a trade for a sanctioned person, you have violated federal law and you will be hit with massive punitive penalties. You are strictly liable for the failure.
And FinCEN?
FinCEN is about gathering financial crime intelligence. Their mandated action is to file e-reports, like SARs and CTRs, so they can analyze the data. They do not ask you to freeze the assets. Their deadlines are 15 days for a CTR and 30 days for a SAR.
So let's put it all together. Could one single terrible transaction trigger both an OFAC block and a FinCEN report simultaneously?
Yes, and this is exactly how the system is designed to work. Let's say Shady Sam, who happens to be a designated narcotics trafficker on the SDN list, tries to wire $50,000 out of his brokerage account to a bank in South America.
Okay.
Diligent Diane's screening software flags it. She will immediately block the transaction and freeze the $50,000 to comply with OFAC. She will report that block to OFAC within 10 days.
Right.
And D, because a known narcotics trafficker trying to move $50,000 is inherently highly suspicious, she will simultaneously file a SAR with FinCEN within 30 days. One bad transaction, multiple distinct regulatory alarms going off in Washington.
That is the whole comprehensive ecosystem right there. You have the CIP checking IDs at the front door to make sure they know exactly who is in the building.
Yep.
You have the ongoing AML monitoring, watching the cameras for structuring and layering. You have OFAC screening every transaction against the global no-fly list. And you have SARs and CTRs being quietly sent to the FinCEN mailroom anytime someone trips the wires.
It is an intricate, overlapping web of defense. And if you understand why each part exists, why the government needs data, why thresholds exist, why layering is so complex, You will navigate those exam questions with absolute ease.
You aren't just memorizing rules anymore. You understand the mechanics of the machine. Okay, my friend, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. We have traced the life cycle of dirty money from the duffel bag to the yacht. Let's bring this home with a rapid-fire recap of the absolute top testable takeaways. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Money laundering. What are the 3 stages? In order, go.
Placement, layering, integration. Put the dirty money in, spin it around through complex transactions, and pull the clean money out.
Structuring. What is it? Where does it happen? And is it always illegal?
Structuring is breaking up cash deposits into smaller chunks, specifically to evade the $10,000 CTR reporting limit. It happens during the placement stage. And yes, it is a federal crime, even if the underlying money is 100% clean and legally earned.
The AML compliance program. FINRA Rule 3310. What are the 4 mandatory pillars?
1. Written policies and procedures. 2. Designation of an AML compliance officer. 3. Ongoing employee training. 4. Independent annual testing. And remember the nuance. The program must be formally approved in writing by senior management.
Customer Identification Program, or CIP. What 4 specific things must you collect to get past the bouncer?
Full legal name, date of birth, physical address, and an identification number, like a social security number. And remember the trap. It applies to all new accounts, even for existing customers opening a secondary account.
The alarms. CTR versus SAR. Give me the stats on the CTR.
Currency transaction report. Triggered by physical cash over $10,000. It is an automatic speed camera. No suspicion required. Must be filed within 15 days and records kept for 5 years.
And the SAR.
Suspicious activity report. Triggered by suspicious activity or evasion of $5,000 or more, it requires human judgment. Must be filed within 30 days. And the golden rule of SARs.
Yeah.
No tipping off. You can never tell the customer they are being reported.
Finally, OFAC and the SDN list.
The Office of Foreign Assets Control. They enforce global sanctions. If there's a match in the SDN list, you do not process the trade. You BLOC the assets immediately, freeze the account, and report to OFAC within 10 business days. Strict liability applies.
Incredible. We have laid out the entire map of the financial battlefield. But before we sign off, we always like to leave you with a final provocative thought. Something to mull over that builds on what we've learned today. Something that pushes the boundary of the curriculum.
Consider this. The foundational rules we just spent the last hour dissecting, the CTRs, the physical cash limits, the Bank Secrecy Act, were largely built for a 1970s era of physical cash, paper ledgers, and traditional brick-and-mortar banking.
Right. The old days.
But think about the reality of tomorrow. Think about how the integration of instant, decentralized global cryptocurrency transfers, combined with AI-driven software that can generate and dissolve hundreds of offshore shell companies in a matter of seconds, fundamentally alters the layering stage.
Oh, wow.
The speed of modern digitized finance is creating a permanent, high-speed cat-and-mouse game between FinCEN's predictive algorithms and global laundering syndicates.
The spin cycle isn't just getting faster, it's going quantum.
Exactly. Which means these foundational rules you just learned, they are about to evolve and mutate faster than ever before. The core principles of hiding and cleaning money remain identical, but the battlefield is entirely shifting to the digital automated realm.
That is something to think about. Remember, the X-ray machine for financial crime is constantly being upgraded, but the criminals are always trying to build a better lead vest. You now have the intellectual tools to absolutely dominate the AML section of your SIE exam. You know the players, you know the strict rules, you know the exam traps, and most importantly, you know why they exist. Keep studying, keep questioning the mechanics behind the rules, and we will see you on the next deep dive.